Howdy everyone. Thought I'd do another video on the status of this space station. I don't have a name for it yet. I'm starting to think about that a little bit, but did a number of things since the last time. A lot of it had to do with texturing, but a lot of interior stuff too. Obviously, this is just the first coat of texturing, so I'll be trying to get more textures and tweaks in place. Now, one of the larger things that was done was I did get the floor of the lower landing pad all textured up. Uh, I made some modifications to this deco railing on the top. As you can see, I'm not quite, I'm missing stuff here and there. Um, I extended this beam out further, so I thought it cut off right over here before, and I thought it would look better if it went all the way out. But this is kind of neat. I really dig this, almost like a scene. You know, you walk out of this door here and you're to this large open air thing with these gun turrets hanging down. It's kind of the feel I wanted to get. It's I don't know. I can't help think of like Star Wars kind of things, you know. And that was this is heavily influenced by Star Wars. Not that it's anything like anything in a Star Wars movie, but it's got some ideas behind it. Um, a few other things that were changed is man is I went through and I added this section here. Now, this is another experimental thing. I was thinking, you know, of course I want to make this thing really really big, but it's pretty much maxed out on size. I'm still at size class 8, which is good. I mean, almost 9. Like I think if I take a look, yeah, 848. So it's definitely just about size class 9 right now, and it definitely will be size class 9, if not 10 before release. The reason why is lights and sensors. There's not too many more blocks or parts I need to add. It's just coming down to lights and sensors and things like that. The idea behind this piece here is I'm trying to make a universal setup. If you've seen things like Crazy Z's train system and others that have made the same thing, there's console commands where you can align things perfectly. So what I was thinking about doing is having a module like this and then building some other pieces, like say an extension piece and maybe a curve piece that would separate off into different directions. And then build another module that lines up to the same setup. So you could keep on extending the base out and add more capacity, maybe a large farm, maybe something else. And make this thing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as you go. Of course, you know, you need resources, but hey, if you want it, you can have it. Um, Another big thing that I changed was this whole top section. I wanted the artillery up top. I got it there now. I also added this gun mount up front here and got rid of something that used to be over here, and extended the landing pad out so it's more usable now, and put in 2 turrets up here instead of 1. So I'm starting to get there with covering the areas that I was believing are going to be vulnerable. I changed the body line on this side a little bit, extended out by 1 row. It was off from the front side, and then of course added more turrets over here as well. Inside, because of all the changes, I ended up modifying the farm, and I dumped some backup power and fuel. I'm sorry, fuel and air in this section over here, and there's some piping now in the ceiling. And I had a little more room over here, so I kind of altered the ceiling and the way this looks on the one side of the lounge, and fixed up all the screwed up textures again. Now going down, I also tweaked out the farm again, had to do that, but it really didn't change from how it was before. I am working currently on the hangar. I also rebuilt this front area some. I got rid of the other glass and started using what I like to call the fancy glass. Instead, I changed the way the storage is. So now the storage is off to the sides. I had these roundy things kind of coming up from the center, which were very wasteful in space, I believe. I've been just kind of setting LCDs in places and switches and stuff that I would need. The forges I set up so they are further back right now, and this protects you from frying yourself. So you can't fall in there and you can't get a bunch of heat and radiation. I don't know if they do radiation or not, but you're not going to get the heat. And I left some of this. This back side I did a lot of work to. I got this all tweaked out for all these bay doors. I got the this catwalk in with a couple elevators that go down to the ground. Yeah, it's coming along pretty good. Now, one thing that I was testing, and let me show you something here, is on O2. One thing I did want is separation of oxygen, especially from the hangar going to the farm. And because of this big cutout in the ceiling, I was having a problem with that. So I found a solution, and what I did is I added this glass row around this chandelier thing, and together with these really thin blocks that are along the sides already, it actually forms an airtight seal. So if I hop in here and I blow away the oxygen from the hangar, so we lose all our oxygen here, but guess what? The farm is covered. I know it would certainly look like you would lose oxygen through this space, but that does not happen. Also, all the separate rooms have their own oxygen. Well, they are separated from everything else. In fact, the entire base is oxygenated except for these rooms currently, in which I'm going to do that when I get into detailing and working on them. So these rooms ought to be kind of neat, and one thing I'm going to do is, rather than using symmetry at this point, I'm going to try to do every room individually with maybe a little different textures and a little different layout, so they are all unique from each other. There's 4 rooms there. The top 2 rooms could double as a small farm. I was thinking you could probably get a good 18 grow plots in each one of these areas, especially if I chopped out some of these blocks that are just here for no reason right now. If you needed more farm space, it does have the double height ceiling, and that does help for this, because my only regret is the farm in here only has, I believe, 54 grow plots, if I'm thinking about that correctly. Yeah, 54. It's probably enough, but I mean, it's a big base, and comparing it to the Sentinel station, the Sentinel had, God, 288 grow plots, which was probably far excessive, but it's kind of neat. So this one definitely doesn't have the farm capacity of the Sentinel station. Now, some other things that have been done, let me get out of God mode, as I worked on a lot of these backing areas. There's other parts of the base that are all over the place. For one, I still have this particular capital ship mount point, but I do have that right above it right now. Capital ship mount point. We'll just call it entry to the base. Going down this ladder, there's all kinds of different floors now, and I snuck in an offline protection and a gravity generator. I have yet to test a gravity generator. I tried to get it towards the center part of the base, and I'm hoping it has enough space to cover it, or I'll have to do some changes and try to get a couple gravity generators mounted. I ended up having to do that with the Helix orbital as well. I didn't have enough space. I really wish when you had a gravity generator selected, it would show you the range. I guess I could find out through some testing to see exactly how far out it goes in each direction. I'm sure some people know this already. I just have never done the research on it. I also popped in a core, and this is a permanent housing for the core. I protected the back wall around it, the floor, and the ceiling, and there's a couple layers of combat blocks around every section of that. And yes, I am still finding all kinds of little problems all over the place. So this is just a small little pit stop room with nothing that you really need to go to. Going further down the elevator to the bottom, you have a couple things going on here. One, this goes out to the front, or the lower landing pad area. But also I threw in a second O2 and health station right here, which I figured would be kind of convenient. Another hallway goes here, and all the way down this way goes to the lower access point, which is way down here by the solar panels. Now, I got to texture a lot of this stuff yet. It's getting there though. So this elevator here only goes to there, and the main elevator is this one here. Now in these rooms, you don't see a lot of it. I guess I can get out of God mode again. But also I threw in Wi-Fi over here, and there is dispersed fuel and air throughout the station now. Several different locations. So you have some in here, you have some over by the forges, you have some up in the lounge area, and you also have some more in the hangar area. Oh, hangar's this way. So I embedded some over here. So it's given it a lot of fuel and a lot of air now, and I'm glad they're all in place, and I don't have to think about that anymore. The only thing I have left to do is add a couple solar capacitors, and I'll probably get them in somewhere in that engineering area as well. So going up this elevator, you have first this floor here, which is nothing's done with it yet. And I was thinking, some crew quarters. Maybe these are the cheaper ones without the balcony and with the potentially lower ceiling. But a lot of these blocks will probably change, so I'm going to try to raise the ceiling in here, kind of like it is on the WIP, so it appears more spacious. And of course, coming up to this floor here is where you have, oh, I already showed you that, the two crew rooms here. And then going up again, this gets you out to the farm section. I swear I'm missing something. I think I got a hidden room somewhere that I was going to show you, and then now I can't find it. My God. It's amazing when you get lost in your own base, and it's very simplistic too. Where the heck is it? Did I seal it off or something? I have a, oh yeah, on this floor. Yeah, this floor goes out to, okay, this airlock kind of thing, which I also had on the Sentinel Station, but I never utilized it. I didn't exactly know how I could line up things. Now I do, but my big question now, and I'll have to test that, is I know it works on ground, but how would lining up another part to identically fit this work in space? I don't know yet. And I guess, because you might have this space station at all sorts of different angles, so it can face the sun, and I don't know exactly how that's going to turn out yet. If it doesn't work, I might cut that part, but I would like to have it there. I think it'd be so cool to be able to add extension, pieces and more stuff out in this direction from the space station. Could even link a couple of these together. So that's just a quick update on where I'm at. I still have yet to texture this And the reason why I didn't is because I ended up replacing a ton of the ceiling. I was trying to actually make this base a little more efficient, use a little less curvy blocks, and there's a bunch of them on the ceiling that I kind of got rid of with some simpler blocks. I left some, and it was just to try to keep the size class tame. And it's not bad. At the class size I'm at now on what's left to add, I mean, it's mostly just textures, and then of course I'll probably jump up a full size class in adding lights and sensors. But I think at that point in time it should be pretty good. And might be in the size class 9 range. Hard to say. But it will not exceed 10. And I'm not worried about that anymore. For a little while there, I was worried that, oh my God, can I keep this in size class 10? And yeah, I definitely can. But I started to get kind of conservative with parts and costs. I'm using carbon substrate any place I can, non-critical areas. So there's a few different materials being used now. That and also just regular hardened steel in some places that I wanted to be somewhat tough, but not, they don't need to be full combat armor tough. And that would be like this landing pad down here. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that and see what you think. Another thing I've been doing too is kind of looking at this from different angles, from further out, like how does this look from a distance? You know, the silhouette of it. And I'm thinking I'm kind of liking that. I think it's, I don't know. It does look like it's from some kind of sci-fi movie. Well, short of being voxel. But I think you get the idea. From a distance, it looks pretty neat. I got 2 hiccups on my textures and windows. Now, before I go, I guess I'll just, these windows here, I love them. I think they look great. Side effect to these windows is when you get to a particular distance, the culling, or basically to improve frame rate, they disappear. Like right here, if you notice, the windows are no longer visible and you see like straight inside to the lounge. Not that you can see much of it from here, but that actually doesn't happen as bad with the old windows. And I don't like how they disappear like that. It's nothing I can do about that. Anytime you use those windows, it's going to happen. One other thing is this particular texture. Let's see, where do I got that? I think I used it quite heavily on the floor. This texture here, I don't mind it. I don't use it all that much, and the reason why is because it annoys me from how it looks from a distance. If you look at it from here now, it just looks, it really sticks out. Not that it looks terribly bad or anything, but it looks kind of blocky. I don't know if I like that or not, and that is one of the reasons why I do use this texture, but not a lot, because I kind of think it turns things into kind of a blocky mess, and I wish it. But I love the idea behind this texture, like having a smooth, you know, something that lines up similar to what this other metal grate type texture is here. But it's just with these seam lines that it has in it and how bold the edges are, it just makes it stick out too much, I think. I'd love to modify these textures and tweak them. Actually, I took a look and I realized that all the textures in the game are in some kind of compressed format that I don't actually know how to access. Not that I should or anything, but would really love to see what you could do with some custom textures or some different textures. But yeah, that's where it's at. I still haven't painted nothing, and I still have not done up this landing pad area. And the reason, yeah, because I wanted to get this bottom room done first. Otherwise, I would end up having to redo a lot of it. Oh, this isn't even the right station. Well, by the way, this is how it used to be in this area. So it did change a lot. And that's what I started with before it went to the other part there too. Let me get over to the correct space station. So after it's colored and lit and everything, I think it should be pretty neat. And of course, getting the floor in. And I still have to address the repair bay, which I'm going to try to keep that further out in this area. I might even build this out a little more on the edge. I don't know yet. And the whole reason why I want to keep it out is so you can roll in a capital ship here and not smack into the tower and repair a capital ship. Excuse me. All right, well, you all have a good day, and I hope you enjoyed this short video. I still might do something on the texturing of this flight deck here, and just to show you how I kind of go about the process of coming up with lines and layouts and things like that. All right, see you later.